Have you ever asked your kids how their day was at school or what they did and you got silence or I don't know? It's like pulling teeth to try to get them to open up. Sometimes it's like that in therapy, not just with kids, but with adults too. Today, we're going to go down the rabbit hole of talking about a new type of therapy, which is digital play therapy. And I'm going to interview my friend and colleague, Jason Thompson, and we're going to talk about digital play therapy and how it works. Can you still see my head? Yay. I got a big forehead, man. Okay. It's a 5 head. Welcome back to Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Alexis Burton, and today I have a very special guest with me, and we are going to learn all about digital play therapy, which I know almost nothing about. So please welcome Jason Thompson. He is, we've worked together for a few years now. Yep. He's also an LAPC here in Georgia. So tell me, what made you get trained in digital play therapy?
When it comes to dealing with kids, sometimes it's hard to get their attention at first, for them to focus. And doing video games and playing with video games is a distraction to where, one, it builds rapport to where they kind of put their trust in you because you understand that they're just not an adult, but you're also like a big kid. So you play video games too. And when you start playing video games with them, then you almost enter into their world. So it's a lot easier.
So digital play therapy is exactly that. It's you're on a console playing, and I'm not a gamer by any stretch, so Xbox, whatever, right. and you have certain games that you play with them, and while you're playing, you're also kind of having the talks, the conversations.
Yeah, so sometimes I describe it like, so especially being a guy, sometimes it's hard for guys to just kind of talk intimate with each other, just talking about feelings and emotions. And sometimes that happens with kids too, because with kids it's different because they don't know what to say.
Right.
With adults or teenagers or men, it's more of they don't know how to say it or they're scared to say it. So sometimes traveling in a previous job, when you have somebody with you, call it windshield time, because you're both just looking out the windshield and neither one of you are talking with each other or talking to each other. So sometimes you're just staring out the same windshield and you're just talking, but you don't really realize that some of the best conversations that I've had with people, not that are strangers, but just that were riding along, were just in-depth conversations just about life, and it was just going down the road. And it was nothing. So, I mean, it was just, we wasn't trying to do anything, just pass the time. So.
Well, it's almost like easier.
Yeah.
Because you're like not thinking about it. You're like, your mind is kind of kind of like a fidget spinner would be for like a kid with autism or ADHD, where it's like, got to keep that part of your brain occupied so you can kind of connect to the other part.
Right. So right now it's, cool thing with kids though is, when they enter into the office or into the office setting, it's very, trying to think of a good word. It's very kind of intimidating with them because you're in a grown-up world. You know, you're like in a doctor's office and you have all the answers and, you know, they're not sure what's going on. But when you
have all the answers?
I wish.
You do?
But when you give them the remote, and you're like, here, play this game and tell me what you're doing. And then they just explain, it's like a blinder and they don't even notice where they are. They just start telling you all the stuff that they're doing, how they do it, how many times they've been doing it, what they're doing, and just all the stuff that they can do with these games, especially with Minecraft. Minecraft is more of a, it's considered just a big sand tray is what it's called, like, sandbox. Because you can just create anything you want to, and there's two different levels or two different types of Minecraft. You can either play on creative mode or survival mode. So survival mode is more of like a video game to where you start out, you collect things and you build them and you You have recipes and a craft table that you build all the stuff. You make swords and beds and everything like that to survive. Creative, you have everything you need, and you're just playing. And so you really could just build whatever you want to. And so sometimes that helps them because they already have all the stuff they need, so they can just walk through the world and just tell you what they're doing and all kinds of stuff.
So are you trained to like then ask certain questions and prompts, you know, like, cause in traditional sand, and everybody knows I don't do kids in therapy because it's not my thing.
Yeah.
So, and I know, but I do know a little bit about like sand tray and all of that stuff. Is it the same where you like kind of have probing questions that kind of get to the more in-depth stuff that they might be dealing with, feelings, all of the things?
Yes, so I got the introduction, I guess, from a lady out in England. Her name's Elle Finch, and it's just kind of an introductory class to it. And she actually developed this around the COVID time, where it was really hard to get kids in and stuff like that. It was isolation. So she's like, what can we do to talk to kids and talk to people without them having to come in and still have something to do? And so she started thinking about Minecraft, and she liked playing Minecraft anyway. But so she and some other people developed an actual that you can only download through her website. But
nice.
And you actually you go in, and it's actually a sand tray, and you're in a
virtual
sand tray, and so you can actually pick what do you want as the base. So when you open the world up, you're in an office setting, and you're like, there's an office, there's a desk, and then you have to enter in
kind of like The Sims.
Yeah,
because isn't The Sims similar like that?
Something like that. And then you can actually choose if you want grass, snow, sand, rocks.
You're creating your world.
Mm-hmm. And so when you walk in, the sand tray, the sand tray sits on a table, and it's a giant compared to you're just a little person. And so you can float around the whole world, and you can pick stuff off the shelf. And they've created a bunch of different stuff that you can pull off the shelf. Cars, trucks, airplanes, monsters, pandas, animals, all kinds of different stuff. And so you kind of prompt with that too. Or you can just go into a creative world, and you just kind of ask questions like, hey, what are you feeling today? What's going on? Like, sometimes I'll ask, the first thing I'll say is, once we get to a good spot, I'll say, go ahead and build you a safe space. So build your own safe space. And so some of them are mansions, and they just build all these rooms, and you're like, wow, this is, and then sometimes it's just a small little house. But it was really fun. I played with my 8-year-old, and he decided to build a house on the side of a cliff. And so I'm like, hey man, this thing's going to fall. Like, we need to build something to support the house. And he goes, there's no physics in Minecraft, Dad. And I was like, whatever, man. He goes, well, you can just take care of that. I'll do the rest. And so I'm over here like building like these support systems that go on the side of the cliff. And he's making a glass house, and he puts all these he looks like he won the lottery because he's got all these like gaudy statues in there, just like these weird looking things. I'm like, what'd you just like, when people win the lottery, they buy the worst stuff in the world. So that's what it looks like inside this little house that he built. But he built it, and then I tried to build a glass bridge to a cave, and he destroyed it all. He's like, this doesn't match my house. So I was like,
it doesn't go.
I was like, what, man? I thought we were playing together,
Yeah.
But it's just how creative they are is really what's cool. But again, because you kind of just now you're in their world, and that's kind of, to me, that's what you want to do anyway. Is with any kind of type of client, you want to try to immerse yourself into their world so you can get a better understanding for empathy and sympathy. And
it's funny because I talk about this a lot on here, a lot.
Right.
The whole being relatable,
right?
And it's really hard, obviously, for me to be relatable to littles, and mine's grown, so
right.
I definitely don't have that. But that does open up that avenue of just that relatable, like, oh, this dude's cool. He's a grown up, but we're playing Minecraft. But I wonder, I would think there would be some maybe controversy around this, because a lot of the stuff you hear in society and on just news and all
Right.
of that about screen time. So have you noticed any kickback from that?
Not yet. It is because even in my household, we try not to play, but except on weekends, and maybe only an hour or two, because you're right. The screen time can have adverse effects. Even being creative, just being stuck in front of a screen, can do a lot of damage. But what we're looking at, how you're looking at this is like it's a 30 or 45 minute, but it's more the game that we play, like I said, mainly is Minecraft is more creative. And so you're using your mind and you're creating things more than you are just sitting there, just, passing time away. So some parents may, the worst, I guess, where I would find the most hindrance to, I guess, is when you have to worry about people that are on there and that can, because it's a creative world. So
Right.
if you're not careful and you don't put all the things that can block other people, from getting into that world and talking to them and stuff like that. So you have to really be careful.
So it's like a private.
Right. Yeah. So you have to build like your private, especially like I said in Minecraft, you have to build it, and there's such a big world that you could technically create a lot of different worlds or a lot of different safe spaces in a lot of different worlds and just use just different ways to locate their safe space.
Right. Right.
But I get what you're saying. It can be, I haven't had any kickbacks on it yet, as in they're playing too much but it is something that I found that they get excited for because they're like, ooh, we're going to play Minecraft today. And some of them have come in and it was like, I don't feel like playing video games today. Can we just play Uno or can we just talk? So sometimes it's helpful, and then sometimes they just don't want to play.
I feel like it would be a good door opener, like especially for those kids first time ever been in therapy. It can be super intimidating, and to walk in and like be like, we're gonna play Minecraft. Okay, I can get down for that. Even if you don't, and I'm assuming you don't do it every single session. Because there's other avenues that you take. I'm assuming with kids.
Right.
Again, I know very little. I know very little. But so what's the age range typically that, at least that you're seeing for, I'm sure it can go up to adults because I know like my daughter plays video games and she's 19. So,
Right.
But like is there a certain kind of target age?
Well, when it's doing the rapport building, I think it's early is good. I think once they get up into a certain age, I think it's more of a distraction. And some people don't want to do it because they feel like it is a distraction and they're not going to be able to get anything out of it. I know but the age range is really just, and sometimes it comes with a video game. So like I play Minecraft with my kids, but it wouldn't be something that I picked up and played because I play video games, when I have spare time, which is
Right.
not at all. But I play every now and then.
Right.
And so sometimes, that I forgot what I was saying. Anyway,
ADHD.
exactly.
We are very authentic here.
yeah.
That happens to me all the time.
It's like, what was I
So
saying?
where was I going with that?
But the age range, it just depends. So some kids will know that, or teenagers. I've had a client tell me, it's like, hey, we can get on and play video games if you want to, and they're like, there ain't no way, like I will get nothing done, And then some kids just want to get on there, and you don't get anything out of them. You're like, oh, okay. It's like,
Yeah, we're not
now
gonna-
we're just here playing.
Now we know this
Yeah.
isn't going to work. So,
Yeah, so those are a little bit different.
which kind of brings me to my next question of, talk to me about the results you've seen from using it and what you've been able to like get from your clients, your young clients.
So the first time I used it, this was a kind of a funny story. Is the first time we used it, I had this kid, and he had just moved in with his mom's boyfriend. They had just moved in together, and I was trying to figure out. It was new for him, and so I was trying to figure out how he felt about it. So I was like, I was in the sand tray world, and I was like, why don't you pull something off the wall that it would tell me how it's like living there? And I said, well, and so while he's looking on the shelves for something to use, he was like, well, he steals a lot. And I was like, oh, I was like,
The
I don't know
boyfriend?
where, yeah. And I was like, I don't know where this is going. So I'll just let it play out. And so in my head, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like he's caught him stealing like his mom's money or just something. I was like, what is going on? Like just thinking the worst case scenario. So he's like, I need to find these little green zombies. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, they're over here on the shelf, so let's use them. And so he puts probably like 100 of these little green zombies in this table. And I was like, what is it? Why do you got all these zombies? He's like, this is Mountain Dew. And he goes, and this is how much my mom's boyfriend drinks. And when he gets finished drinking all his, he goes and steals my mom's. And I was like, and so now she has to hide them in a closet. And I was like, that's what he steals? He goes, yeah, he steals Mountain Dew all the time.
Awesome.
I was like, oh my gosh. And it was just so funny because he was just using like whatever he could find that was green to just represent Mountain Dew. But that's kind of, he would have never been able to tell me that, like, using his words.
Yeah, like on his own, like in conversation, he wouldn't have.
Like, yeah, if he would have said, what's he stealing? Of course, I'd have started probing for more questions like, are you in danger? Like, what's going on? Like, I start thinking, like, worst case scenario, and this kid's just talking about.
Do I need to talk to mom?
Yeah,
Like,
and so, and I actually did end up talking to mom later, and I was like, okay, I got to tell you something funny. And she was like, you know what? He's right. He was like, he goes,
does
I do
steal my Mountain
he's
Dew.
like, he goes through like a 12-pack a day, and I have to hide
my
mine in the
gosh,
pantry.
like-
Yeah. And I was like, I get it, redneck water, you know. But yeah, so that was funny. But I have had a kid come in and was just having a rough day, and he really just he wanted to play, but he didn't want to play. He didn't really want to talk, and in the game you can get TNT. And you can put up little dynamite everywhere. And you have to, you don't just light it. You have to, in the world of Minecraft, so you have to create everything. So you have to find flint and steel to make a spark.
Okay.
And so you have to make a spark and then throw it, or you'll get, if you're in survival mode, you'll blow yourself up.
Nice.
You know, but if you're in creative mode, of course, you don't perish. But, and so he put dynamite everywhere, and he just come in there and lit it, and it exploded, and he kept wanting to, like, there was something else he wanted to do. You can create lava, and he pretty much created lava and just pretty much destroyed this whole town. And I was like, what is going on? I was like, what's going on with you today? Like, you feel, you seem a little bit more agitated than normal.
Aggressive?
Yeah. It seemed a little bit more agitated, more aggressive today. And he was like, I just had a bad day, and to be honest, this is the safest way I could just let out anger. And he goes, I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't, hurt myself. He's like, they're just characters. Like, they don't represent anything. They're just, they're just buildings.
That's some self-awareness. How old was this kid?
9 or 10.
Okay.
Yeah. And so he was, and so that's what we used. And so, when he's had a bad day, or he comes in and he's like, hey, well, we're on Minecraft or whatever. And I'm just, and that's what I mean by, like, letting them be able to, some people like to draw, some people like to color, and some people, they just don't like doing it because they feel like it doesn't really represent, but it doesn't represent what they're feeling. So when they can come in, and even if they build this gigantic house, and they're just peaceful, and they just want to build, and they just, but then he didn't have any other outlet. If he screams or yells, maybe he'll get in trouble for being an angry kid, or, you don't yell inside the house, or why are you so angry, or, but if he hits something, then he's in a rage. So how else can, you can only scribble, on paper so much in anger before you just tear it or break the markers or something like that. So it was just it was a really safe way. And you kind of think about it, and when you hear it, you think, oh my gosh, this kid's like got some anger issues, and, is he going to blow up this, or he's going to blow up that? And I was like, no, it's not like that. Like, you got to look at you got to look at their world. Like, they didn't hurt anybody, but they didn't know any other way. It's better than them just going out and punching some other little kid, or it's better than them hurting something smaller than them,
Right.
It's just a lot easier for them to use an outlet, which is sometimes what we are, is just outlets, they don't have anybody else to confide in or talk to because nobody else understands.
Even in adult therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, I have clients that just come in and they just want to vent. Like, they just literally, they know that's but they'll tell you flat out, like, I just need to vent today. Like I'm like,
Yeah, it's like
have at it.
yeah,
Like,
I don't need
whatever.
your advice.
I'm here for
I don't
whatever you
need
need.
yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
let me know if I can help in any way.
Yeah.
But otherwise, let's hear it. Like, because
Yeah.
that is very therapeutic for some.
Right.
Just because a lot of people don't have that person
Yeah.
or don't have any outlet
Yeah.
really. So they end up internalizing, which causes a whole bunch of problems down the road, especially in young kids.
It's like a digital rage room.
I've always wanted to try a rage room. I think I would enjoy it, like a real one. Like I would
thought
love
about
to
it.
smash some stuff.
But I'm trying to think some other report. So as far as going back to report, so this one kid come in and immediately shut down and didn't want to be there, didn't want to talk. And they had a really cool hoodie though that zipped across the face. And so he's just inside this hoodie. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be a long 45
long hour.
minutes.
Yeah.
Just like, what do I do? I'm talking to the mom and, and she's like, this is kind of what he does, and so he'd already told me he liked video games and he had played Minecraft before. So I was trying to hurry up and get it set up because sometimes I don't do it on the first session because I don't want them thinking, oh, we just get to come here and play video games.
Yeah.
Like, this is just, and so the mom and dad are like, what am I paying for? I'm not paying for this, It's like, he's got buddies that can do that,
Right.
And so I try to introduce it slowly and I started getting everything out. And his mom said, look, buddy, he's got Minecraft if you want to play. And he just comes straight out of his hoodie, just pick the remote up and then just starts talking. Like nothing had phased him.
Awesome.
Builds all this stuff. He was telling me all this different stuff. And just, and ever since then, like we haven't even played again since that time.
That was all he needed to just to be comfortable, to know that you were safe. Because a lot of, even in adults really, like I have plenty of adults that have never had a safe person.
Right.
And, and then of course they meet me and they're like, this bitch is crazy.
It's like you should work with her.
I think I could talk to her.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, like you have to feel, I would, even in my own therapy, like if we don't, if I don't feel safe, I'm going to be a lot of,
It's like,
yeah.
I get it.
I don't know. I'm going to be that person. Well, I really won't, but it's going to be hard for me to pour out my deepest, darkest
especially
secrets.
if you're just not comfortable. Because, that's just, and that's my, I guess you would consider it my niche, I guess. Is just, I like making people feel comfortable. Like just, I'm not anything more than just a sounding board, really. Just come, you can talk whatever you want to say. No judgment, just whether I agree with you or disagree with you. It's just, we're still just people trying to live in the world and navigate it. And I want people to feel as comfortable as possible. And whatever that means, if I can do it, I'll do it. And I just want people, like I said, it's, there's a lot of people in the world that don't have anybody to talk to. So it's just lot easier.
Too many people.
And it's just, I tell, I do, have another job too. And I tell them when I hire them, I was like, if you don't have anybody else to talk to, I was like, I won't charge you anything. Just open the door, give me a call and say, hey, it doesn't matter what it is. If I can help you, I will. But they're just I've just talked to way too many people who just didn't have anybody to talk to.
And that's why we do what we do. So because we felt that way at some point and we don't want others to feel that way, or if we can make a difference in some way, or if we can, bring comfort or bring a different perspective or whatever. That's why I chose this path, partly is just because I didn't want anybody to feel the way I felt.
Yeah.
Because it was not fun.
Yeah,
it wasn't good.
Yeah, ever since then, that kid's only played chess. He kicks my butt every time.
Oh, I love
There's
some
nothing
chess.
humbling like having a 12-year-old just whoop your butt in chess. And you're just like, like I knew I should have paid attention more, but kick my butt. I was like, it's like, can we play chess? No, I'm not playing chess. I don't want to get beat again. So
I feel like that about video games though. Like I don't want to play video games because every single time I'm losing because it's just not something that, but I do love me some chess.
And with the video games though, with like the digital play therapy, you really gotta, I won't let them play, and I'm sure that some people can disagree and stuff, but I don't let them play Fortnite because there's too much anxiety that goes into it. We don't play Call of Duty. Like we're not going to play anything that's going to, no anxiety. But
It's mostly creative.
yeah.
It's like
Well,
the
we do-
creative stuff, right?
Well, we play sports. Like there's, because some of them are sports guys, and and
Oh,
just,
yeah,
they hear
yeah.
it. So I really kind of let them pick as long as it's, if I have it,
Appropriate,
yeah,
yeah.
as long as it's appropriate, like I said, and we was playing a baseball game, and one of my clients just looks at me and he goes, "Dude, I'm having to concentrate too much on this. I've never played this game before. Can we play something else?" I was like, "I got Ninja Turtles," and I was like, "There's only 2 buttons." He was like, "Let's go."
Perfect.
And so it was. I got a old school. It's the Ninja Turtles, but it's like 10 or 15 years of Ninja Turtle games. And I think this one that we started playing was come out in like '89. And it's on the
Nice.
PlayStation. And so we were playing. He was like, "This is so much easier." And all it is 2 buttons. Like you just jump and kick. That's it.
Listen, put Tetris in front of me
Yeah.
and hours, or Dr. Mario, hours. Pattern recognition, man, I am the queen of. Like, I can literally,
Yeah.
I can get to like, I can beat that game.
No.
But yeah, I'm not typically a.
But with the sports, like some of them just want somebody to play with. Like they might not have that at home.
Well, yeah, and I thought about that too, because you see primarily boys, and there's that link of, maybe they don't have a father figure at home, and maybe they don't have that adult male role model,
Right.
So you're kind of like a stand-in for that. And even sometimes they have a father at home, but they're,
It could be busy,
kind of absent or not
Yeah.
active in the child's life.
And some of them don't like, I've heard some people's like, I don't play video games, or I played it when I was little, like I'm not little anymore. And so, you see some of that where I don't want to play that, or maybe they just don't have time to throw the football, and it's not just, it's because it's different, the digital play therapy is kind of like, ooh, that's cool, but even just going outside throwing the football, like, sometimes it's harder to do because you have to stand at, a distance, and throw the ball. So I guess HIPAA kind of goes out the window when y'all are both yelling across across each other about your emotions.
Right.
But that's
I'm
another
pissed
thing.
off.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's another cool thing about the video games is you can kind of play football inside
in
right there
a
next
safe.
to each other. Yeah. So, it's kind of sometimes it's a stand-in, sometimes it's just creative, sometimes a representative. It can be so many different things. It's not the video game that you're playing; it's how you're using it.
Right,
and that's.
right.
But that's where, because some of them do like, just personally, like my son played Fortnite, and his anxiety was just so high because it's the fight or flight, and you're not able to get that energy out. If you're sitting there just fighting all day and you're really not moving, where's that anxiety go?
Right.
And to kind of get back to your point about, being stuck in front of video games and have I got any pushback from that? When I talk to parents, and that's the first thing I ask them when they talk about their kids having anxiety is like, how much video games do they play? How much are they in front of their screen? What do they play? And I tell them, like, don't let them play. If they're going to play video games in the afternoon, then they need at least 30 minutes to an hour to run around and get all that energy out. But
Yeah.
if not, it's just going to be stuffed down anxiety.
That's a good point. And I see some teenage girls in session, and there's it's not video games, but screen, like the social media, and you often see extreme amounts of anxiety. I mean, in general, but especially with these teen girls where they're just, the pressure and all of the thing. I'm kind of glad that we weren't raised like that. Like that we didn't have that. We had the 10-foot long cord attached to the phone on the wall, and
That
we
you
were
almost hung yourself
hiding
with when
around
you
the
were talking.
corner. Yeah, like hiding around the corner.
You
So
just start talking, and
nobody
next thing you know,
would-
you're like all wrapped up in it. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a different world. It is such a different world that we're living in, and that these kids are being raised in, and we kind of have to, and that's the whole point of this, is we have to adapt. We have
Right.
to find ways to kind of connect and be able to teach them emotional regulation and about their emotions and all of that. I've said it a million times, there should be a class in school,
oh yeah.
a mandatory class taught by a mental health professional on all of this. It would alleviate a lot of even the adults we see,
Right.
because nobody taught us how to
No.
what our emotions were, to name them, or any of the stuff.
But some of that difference is we were able to feel them one-on-one point of view, like, but now you don't, like, you see.
We were face to face.
Yeah, but you
they're
see other people crying on screen or laughing or opening up presents with joy, and you're like, and you see, you don't get to feel that because maybe they open up something that your parents couldn't afford, you know, and they're opening up all these brand new PlayStations or, you know, brand new motorcycles, and they're like, oh, look what I got, and then it's like, oh, I got a remote control motorcycle. Like, this sucks, you know? And it's like, but they don't get to see that joy of their own, and they're living it through other people. And so they don't get to experience that. And I think that's what's hurting too, is they can't regulate their emotions because they don't know how to feel them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's hard enough.
Absolutely. A lot of adults don't either.
Oh yeah. It's hard enough, like trying to figure them out for yourself.
Exactly.
You know? But, yeah, when there's nobody there to.
And then if the parents don't know, how are they supposed to teach?
Right.
There's nobody. You can't.
Nope.
And then, you know, and then here we are.
Yeah.
Doing our best.
Yeah.
Trying to help, trying to teach, trying to learn on our own while we teach and all of the things.
So it's just different. I guess you got to figure out a way to adapt and overcome. You got to figure out a way to get, I mean, there's, somebody had to get on our level one day, and
absolutely.
You know, and so, you know, same thing. I mean, you got to teach, but it's just, I think all things are good, can be used for good, but it's all in moderation. Like, you know.
And knowing it, and knowing the ins and outs, and getting trained in it, and like using it properly, and not just using it as here's a screen, sit in front of it, and, you know.
They got to learn the dangers of it too. Like, and there's some of those we don't play, and mainly because I don't want them playing something and then trying to go home and play it, and then, you know, the next thing, you know, because there's reports of like people playing Fortnite, and they're just, you know, and they're talking to kids and stuff like that, and so we don't do any of that.
Roadblocks is a big one. I don't know about it. I have no idea what it is, but I just like saw a TikTok reel on how dangerous how really dangerous Roadblocks is.
Roadblocks can be dangerous. Fortnite can be dangerous. I mean, any of them that you can
interact with other people.
But the cool thing about, and I'm not saying Minecraft is off limits. I'm sure there's things, but the thing with Minecraft is you can't talk one-on-one. It's all chat, you know, so you can. You know, so, I mean, I'm not saying that there's kids out there that can't read, but I'm just saying, like, most people don't want to take the time to read and play the game, you know? And so even if you're doing it, like I'm doing digital therapy and we're playing, if it's online or virtual, they're still talking to me through the app for, you know, for clinicians and clients. And so we're not talking on that. And so I don't want, you know, if it comes to that, I would rather still not doing that and talking on that, because I don't want them getting used to talking to an adult through that. So there's a lot of safer barriers. Like, there's just barriers, and there's just different things you got to look at. And but it all comes with moderation, and just learning and teaching is like, hey, you don't talk to people, you know, you know, and just kind of letting them know those things too, because I mean, there's just a lot of smarter people out there.
Well, there's dangers in all of it, and you have to educate. I mean, that's part of our job.
Yes,
it's one of my favorite parts of the job is psychoeducation.
Yes,
is teaching people. Thank you so much for being here and talking through this and educating me, because I literally knew nothing about it. We are going to put Jason's information up on the screen. If you know anybody and that might be interested in digital play therapy, his information will be up at the end of the show. So thank you again for being here.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Eyes the boys builds the boat, eyes the boys sails her, eyes the boys catches fish and brings them home to Liza. There's a Canadian little tune for you. I know.